Hello, hi everyone, hope you are doing well. So in this video I would like to show you how to create two workflows. And the first thing is we are going to create this workflow that I have here. Like basically, if you have seen my previous videos, I'm just creating one, how to say, workflow which is going to test who is the requested for. If it is requested for Abel, and he's going to send for approval to his manager, and then depending on the output he's going to say, hey, the manager is going to approve and is going to like do something else, which is like creation of task. Or if the manager reject, is going to close the need IT request and end the workflow. In our case here, I have another task creation workflow. This is pretty much straightforward workflow. We have in the beginning some conditions like, and it's going to create a task is going to assign to me, to the system administrator. It's going to end. This is a separate workflow. We have two different workflows. What we are going to do is when we create this workflow, we are going to include this one, the task creation. We're going to include at this part. So why is very useful, why is important to have this kind of thing? So here my task creation workflow is the one that I have here. So it's going to include in our main workflow, which I call main workflow, a sub workflow. Another small workflow is going to include here, and then I'm going to end the workflow. So why is important to do this? In my from my understanding, what we can do, for example, let's say this one is very complex, very big, and there are a lot of activity blocks here and conditions, and imagine that you put all this information here. It's going to be if you want to explain to someone, it's going to be very, how to say, tough and not easy to understand. So this is one of the way to actually make it easier for reading, as well to know what exactly each workflow is doing. So I have a main workflow. This main workflow has multiple, let's say here I have only one sub workflow. Imagine you have multiple workflow, and each sub workflow is very complicated, and even each sub workflow can have other workflows, and so on. So it's like a Russian doll. You have something inside. All you need to do here, we are going to create two workflows and try to include this one. Oh, sorry, I closed it. I should find it here. Yes, it's there. So we are going to include this workflow into our main workflow. So let's get started. So I'm going to delete both of them and then start from scratch. So it's going to be training for me as well for the people who's watching the video. So I delete it, done. So I'm gonna give a good title later, like not task creation, but let's say Subflow task creation. So I'm gonna delete as well this one, so I don't have the option. Probably this one was created under global. I'm global. I'm gonna refresh. Yeah, I have delete now. So sometimes there are some issues. So that is clear, there is no workflow. I deleted them. Now I'm gonna start from scratch, from the beginning. So I click on new workflow. I'm gonna name it main workflow, even it's just for the main workflow. And I'm gonna give here, we are going to work on the need IT table. So I choose need IT table here. My condition is here, not run the workflow always, and as usual the state should be awaiting approval. So we're gonna use the same thing like sending for approvals. Let's put the end here, the beginning here. This is the first thing. If we are going to test, we are going to put a if condition. The if condition is going to, if the requester is Abel. I'm gonna put just the last name here, and then and you have in the condition, you go for requested for, and you choose able. So at this part we don't need to do anything, we have set our if condition. Let's connect the transition nodes, so to this one. Okay, again, great. So if it is a yes, it should go for an approval user, right? So to the manager of able. So send for approval to Fred. Lily is actually the approver. So in order to choose our approver, you go to the approver section, you click on this icon, and then this one, click on the requested for, and you choose manager. Click submit. I'm gonna connect this node to this one. So if the condition is yes, if it is able to go send the request to Fred in order to get approved, and then we're gonna set the value of this request to how to say to state to approve. Set the state to approve. Choose here state approved. Click on submit. Right, so now so once the user is approved, is going to be once the manager is approved, the workflow is going to set the state of the need IT request to approve. Then we're gonna end the workflow. Cool. So what happens if it is rejected? So if it is rejected, we're gonna set this state value to close complete. So I'm gonna just right click on here, and I can copy activity. So that's very handy. So you can just do that in order to not to just drag and drop and then do everything. You can start to connect if you want, and then you have to set the condition, right? It's not, it should be approved, it's the opposite condition. So we are going just here, we're gonna put close complete and then update. Sorry, we have to as well put the right title. Okay, that part is done. Okay, as this is done. Now we're gonna, if it's not requester is not able, we're gonna directly reject. So as this part, we connect this here. Done. So now we have created our main workflow, which is a little bit like this, and we're gonna put this here. And now our job is to create the sub workflow, which is going to be included here. So all we need to do, we go back to welcome and then click new. Now I forgot one thing, which is very important, is to validate this one. So everything is correct. As you can see here, everything is green. I click on OK, perfect, and I go to the new one. Here I start to create. I'm gonna put Subflow for task creation. So it's going to be the same table, otherwise it's not good, and it's going to run always. I'm going to set a condition state is approved. As you can see, actually, the state before value here is approved. We're going to include in this transition, that's why I'm putting this one. So I'm going to recalibrate a little bit like this one. Now I'm going to look for a creation of the task, which is this one. I drag and drop, and task for me to review document. So system administrator, title I put please review the document. I'm just saying here document can be anything, so I'm pretty much like document, so that's why I'm putting this one. And I'm gonna connect this one to this one and this one to the end. Very simple one, straightforward creation of the only one task, nothing else. You can create really very complex things like involving if conditions, switch conditions, putting some timers and all these things, creating events. And it's going to be very complex. At this point, imagine you have a huge amount of thing and you want to have the same thing here. That's going to be like not very clear. That's the purpose of the video, is to show you how to create different workflows, how to include one workflow to another inside another workflow. Great, now I'm going to validate this one. Done. Perfect. So the way we include the other workflow is very simple. We go to the workflow and we look for the workflow we created. So it's Subworkflow for task creation. So I'm going to just drag and drop here. I'm going to submit it. It should actually take directly, but it's not working. So I'm gonna do it again. Okay, probably this one. Okay. Oh la la. Now it should be good. Great. So now we have included this subflow to our main flow. Let's validate this one again. Great. At this part, we have completed our entire workflow. We also included our subflow. Now it's time to test if this thing working. So I'm going to do the usual things, like I'm going to create a request need IT for able, send for approval, approve that, and then see each time how the workflow context is evolving, and like the evolution of the context, where is it in each steps. So I'm going to do the one where is everything is right. We can do as well the no, the yes part and the reject part, which is going to here, or the no part directly, or we can just put it at this point, not fulfill the task, and see how this one is going on. So we can see different stage depending on where we are in our request. So let's make it simple, and I'm going to create a new task, new need IT request. So I'm going to put able tutor is our person, and the first condition is awaiting approval. I'm going to choose a mandatory date for tomorrow, and that's it. So I'm going to click on submit. At this point is stating for approval. Let's see what we have in our context. So it's executing. Let's see how it look like. Right, so we have this conditions fulfill and is waiting for approval from Fred. So I'm going back to my need IT request. I'm gonna impersonate to Fred Liddy and then look for the, so you have to type service task, and at this point it's gonna get you my approvals, and you get here requested. If you see the date, it's like it's not the right time zone here, like 2:30 is not, it's 11:30 in the morning. So okay, so now I'm gonna approve it, not reject it. I'm gonna approve it. Great, is approved, and I'm gonna go back to be myself, system administrator, and let's say what we have as a workflow context. So let's see that here, and then click on workflow context. It's still executing, but in a different stage. And if I click on show workflow context, so it's actually here and it should be running the task. So we have here as well the other tab open automatically, which is saying, hey, you have a task. The task is assigned to me. So let's check if I have a task to be completed. So I go here, and if I type need IT, and I have already configured the module here, need IT task, so I can see directly by clicking here. So these are previous ones that I actually don't need, so I'm gonna select all of them. Just this one is the one that we have now. The rest of one I have had before for training, so I'm gonna delete it in the meantime. Great. So I'm gonna open the task, and I'm going to close complete update. So I reviewed the document, it's proper. I'm gonna close the task, it's done. I didn't put any comments. That we can do. It's just to show you how this thing works. Now let's get back to our workflow, and let's see what we have as a condition. So as you can see, our our need IT request is finished. The stage is finished. Let's click on the timestamp and see the show workflow. And as you can see, the entire workflow is done. It was checked. The if condition was fulfilled, it was approved, and the state was changed to approve. I didn't show you, but it was done, I'm sure. If you get back to all, and you can see here state is approved. And what else? This one we don't need. And if we have done our workflow task, if I Subworkflow, and if I click here, so you can see it's done and it's ending here. So that's how we can create very quickly a lot of different workflows and include in between them. This is going to be very useful if you create, like, I don't know, let's imagine this one very complicated one, and you want to include that here. That's going to be useful. Imagine you don't need to write all of this thing again here, and you have a huge like canvas where it's filled with a lot of different information. You can get lost. This is, like, I would say, the best practice to have for me. And also, not just for one workflow. Imagine we have 15 workflow. You can configure 15 workflow by putting a branch here and join. Make sure that all the workflows is done in order to fill. So it's depending on your business process, what is the requirement, how you want to build it. And so that's it. Hope you like it, and have a good day. Until next time, bye bye. Thank you.